Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmunds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode. Good morning, fellow bookworms, book hoarders, book lovers, bibliophiles, and creatives. Happy Wednesday. Today is episode 42 of the podcast. And like always, and during an ongoing season, our show is aired every Wednesday, both for Spotify as well as on my YouTube channel. Now, you have the option to listen or to watch. The choice, of course, is yours. I leave that in your hands. I'm all about choices here. And whether you're listening to us or watching, as long as you click the subscribe button and you ring the bell, you know that you will not miss a single episode, especially a new one, when it comes along. All of our past episodes are ready for you to listen to chronologically or at random if you are joining us for the first time. Our guest for today is a multi-genre author. She's also an avid reader, a music enthusiast. I need to ask you what genre she likes to listen to specifically, and a mathematics teacher. Hey! Now, she pursues her love of words by writing stories as well as poems. She is the author of Her Best Friend's Birthmark and My Girlfriend is a Manananggal. Now, these are the books that reflect daily realities of ordinary Filipino citizens that are infused with a little bit of magic, a little bit of mystery, and of course, how can we live our lives without romance, right? Now, her other published works include short stories, a poetry collection, and essays in print as well as in ebook anthologies. Now, A Journey Through 8 Realms by Lit Art Publishing includes her short story that is entitled The Price of the Wishing Pendant. And the book was actually in fifth place in the 2022 Filipino Reader's Choice Awards and top 10 finalists under the English Fiction Anthology Batch 2 category. Now, she says she enjoys the challenging but fulfilling life of being a teacher as well as a creative. Now, I agree, it is all about balance. And if she does have a tip or two on how to achieve that balance, I think it's time to bring her in. Let's say hello and good morning to Miss Keira Viresse. Hello, Keira.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Keira, and welcome to Urban Fantasy PH.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, always welcome. They say that there is power in one's name, but I'd like to think that there's also equally an element of mystery behind it. And you have a very interesting author name. I was wondering, can you tell us how you came to use the name for yourself as a creative?
It actually started with a code name back in high
Oh,
school. So
okay.
I hope, I think many people will relate to this because sometimes we use code names. Uh,
Mhm.
yes, so my friends and I have code names, and then I jumbled the letters of my first name. So hence Kira. And then
Ah,
I'm a big LOTR fan. So to the point that I read the appendices, and there's this calendar. So my second name, which is April, and uh, means Viresse, or is Viresse in the Elvish language. So I put
yes.
them together, and hence I have my code name Keira Viresse. And then back in 2020, when I first published fiction pieces, so my first book was, oh, I have it here, Journey Through 8 Reels. I hope it's
Yeah, it's
okay
there.
to
All
share
right,
it.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Go ahead. This is
Yes.
all about sharing. The show is all about sharing.
This one, under Lit Art
Ooh.
Publishing here. So I have it. I mean, this was my first book in print. So
I think I
it's,
need to get a copy of that. I need to get a copy of that. I didn't see that.
oh,
I didn't see that recently in the Philippine Book
thank
Fair.
you.
So we will talk. We will talk
Okay.
after the show and
Thank you.
autograph naman.
Oh, sure, sure.
All right.
So I put Keira Viresse because it's my first fiction piece. Yes.
All right.
And I think I've always dreamt of becoming an author, and along with that is writing under my pen name,
Okay.
as as the uh, as how it was before. Yes, because
Mm.
usually authors publish under their pen name. So hence I have my pen name.
Keira Viresse. I thought you're gonna say you've always wanted to be an elf, so
Ah,
I was
yes,
waiting for that.
that's also true.
That's also true. I'm not sure about me being an elf. Maybe a dwarf.
Ah,
Maybe a dwarf. Puede. So elves and dwarves are friends in
yes.
well, in some places in Middle Earth, yes, they are friends, but in the earlier ages, there's a little bit of animosity there, but that's not what we're here for. So we're
Yes.
here for for support, and as fellow creatives, we love each other's work and we give support when we can and where we can. That's why we do this today. All right. So when one uses a pen name, what do you think happens? I mean, does it immediately sort of like gives a signal to your brain to act differently, and does it remind you or maybe to stand a little more straight than usual because I'm Kira Breeze or whatever, or converse more and be less introverted because it's the author persona that's coming out and that's facing people, and especially now that you are also a math teacher.
Mm. So I think, well, in general, I think there's that effect.
Hmm.
You are separating two persona. Uh, Another reason why I wanted a pen name is because I want to separate my author life and my private life.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm more of for example, I like privacy, or because I'm introverted as well. So for example, at first I didn't want to even post pictures on my
Hmm.
Facebook page. Yes,
Oh,
yes, but somehow it's a warm community out there, so it's
it is.
yes, so it's been okay with me. And then another thing is sometimes people, because nowadays pen names are not needed unlike before when authors, for example, let's say there was a time when the book industry, uh, there were a lot of men authors, but female authors were not yet that accepted. So
Hmm.
some authors needed to publish under male pen names. But at least I'm glad that later on in life they were also recognized with their real name, with their real name. And then for me, there's that, and then others want to separate their private life and then other life. But for some, they carry their real name with them. I think for today, it's easier to do that. And well, for me, personally, there's not much difference. There's not much difference between Kira Breeze and Ami. Uh, so actually, regarding the persona, I think it'll be separated into three. My author, my author personality, my teacher personality, and
Yes.
yes, me as a person.
Okay.
So yes. So the differences I note is like you've mentioned. For example, I have sometimes it signals my brain, oh, stand straight, or for example, to speak more and let's say more confidently, or be more talkative or expressive. And at the same time, with the way I dress, I think,
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
because for me, my author personality is actually closer to my to me as a person
Okay.
than my teacher personality. Because as a teacher, I dress formally with the long sleeves and the slacks and the blazer, and
Hmm.
then it brings out the reserved, well mannered, also sometimes strict
Hmm.
persona. Yes, but for my author self, it's closer to me as a person, as an introvert, as a writer, author, weird creative, those kinds of things. So somehow somehow my author name, Keira Viresse, and my personality is closer than
Closer
my
to your
yes than
teacher
my
persona. I get that.
yes.
I mean, we would obviously conduct ourselves differently when let's say we're wearing shorts as compared to wearing a coat and tie. So
Yes.
it's just that it's just like putting a different wardrobe on and knowing
Mm.
that your actions and your mannerisms are let's say you know you could say beholden to the wardrobe that you're wearing, but
Yeah.
at least it's in accordance to what you're wearing and how and the persona that you want to project. And since we mentioned the profession that you are a teacher,
Yeah.
teaching the one subject that is so polarizing with a capital P, because on one hand you have students who love it, and then there's the general populace, which kasama ko dun, which is us or me,
Wow.
who don't like it.
Okay.
Did you always want to be a teacher, and was math really your first choice?
Yes. When I was in high school, I had two dreams: to become a teacher and to become an author. So
Okay,
thank God that
you got
I'm
two.
yes. So I'm in that path. I've always wanted to become a teacher because I want to give back the quality
Mhm.
education I've received. I've
Okay.
been a scholar, and I'm a scholar of De La Salle University. Thank you. So
Eh,
it's a great blessing. And uh, so my high school teachers and college professors were so good.
mhm.
They taught the subject matter well. For example, may it be math, science, English, music, because we also had music in our class, and music theory and those. So I think you like music, right? So,
Yes, I love music. Love, love,
kasunod tayo
love.
dito.
Well, I used to work in radio, so how can I like not love music, right? So yeah,
There.
there you go. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned music, and it just sparked the question. Um, do you did you ever try, or maybe you continually still to do to this day? Do you ever try to incorporate music into your math class?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, I For me it's more of I try to incorporate literature
Hmm.
or writing, poetry reading into my math class,
Okay.
quotes whenever possible. So for music, yes, I did. Yes.
Oh, you did. Okay, great.
Yes, I
I
have
want
a
to hear about this. I
sample.
want to hear about this.
Okay. So for example, I'm teaching stat.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Statistics.
statistics, yes, there's
Got
this Greek
it.
letter. There's this letter mu.
Mm.
So the Greek letter mu is where our letter M came from.
Okay.
And then it actually looks like the symbol or the logo of the biggest electric company here. So you might have an idea.
Okay, I get you. All
Okay,
right,
mu
all
looks
right.
like that one.
Uh,
Okay.
we can
And
mention
then,
it kung gusto natin ng maging sponsor.
pwede naman. So whenever I say that to my students, they laugh because it really looks like it. And then uh, mu means mean.
Mm-hmm.
So my first batch of students, the pioneer batch in our senior high school, uh, they had a knock knock about it.
Okay, knock knock joke.
Okay, so I'll do the knock 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 knock.
Okay, who's there?
Mu is mean,
Mu is mean who?
cause mu is mean. And
Okay,
there.
all right.
And then so that is for the first module. And then for the third
Okay,
module, there's a difference that mu is the population mean. So
all
I'll do another
right.
knock knock. I hope it's okay.
Okay, I never thought we are gonna be having knock knock jokes today, but sure, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, mu is the population mean.
All
So,
right.
cause mu is mean of all of the people. So now, so now they get that of all of the people means population. So
Right.
they'll remember that mu is mean of the population. So there.
Oh.
So that
Yeah,
they'll
yeah, yeah.
remember it.
It does retain information, better when you
Yes.
just present it as just simply data
Yes.
to be absorbed. So you teach primarily high school, or is it from grade school to high school? What is the coverage of the students that you teach?
I teach senior high school. So
Senior high
primarily
school.
high school, yes.
Okay, okay. So have you had experiences with teaching students below high school?
Uh, Tutoring. So I've
Tutoring.
tutored students, for example, or pupils, uh, let's say grade one, grade three,
Mm,
there, in different
okay.
subjects as well.
So who's easier?
Uh, well, of course, kids, are so cheerful and so innocent. So
Uh-huh.
it's easy to love them. but it's also fun to teach high school because
Mm-hmm.
at the same time they're also like that. They're also wonderful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they even teach you lessons that you do not expect. That
Okay.
oh, and it's fun around. It's fun to be around them, and I think nakakabata.
Nakabata.
Right.
Oh yes, I like that word, nakabata. It does make you feel young. Do you feel that? And this is might this might also equally date me, but that's okay. Do you feel that the dynamic between a teacher and a student has changed now that you are a teacher as compared to when you are a student? Because usually we see in in older films that there will be teachers who would bring a wooden stick, and they would
Oh,
hit the students, and if they're not, let's say, writing, or if they're not typing right, or they're not paying attention. So I know that dynamic has changed, throughout the years since that. I mean, no teacher will inflict physical harm on a student just to get their attention, or to make, or to discipline them. But in terms of, let's say, the persona that you project, like, I'm the teacher in the classroom, my word is law. Anything that I say is infallible. Hindi ako nagkakamali. Kailangan ako lang ang pakinggan mo. Do you think that has changed now? Yeah, since
yes. Yes, greatly. For one thing, it's not allowed anymore. Uh,
mm-hmm,
Physical punishment is not allowed anymore, and that is good. Uh, I think, for example, when we go to school,
mm-hmm,
uh, I think too much will be avoided if there's none at all. So it's good that physical punishment or corporal punishment is not being implemented anymore. However, there's a discipline. So at the same time, uh, discipline should still be instilled, especially in the classroom, so that the students will learn. Because, for
mm-hmm.
example, let's say there are other distractions going on, but when the teacher disciplines or manages the classroom, the class, the students will focus more on the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So another difference I notice, teachers nowadays are facilitators of learning. So it's not
Okay.
learning knowledge should not just come from them. Uh, it comes from a lot of resources. For example, the internet, library, books. So they are not blank slates when they come into the classroom. So they have their prior knowledge, or they bring what they know, and the teacher will help that using constructivism, or they will help bring out the what the students know and connect it to the new information that they will put. So
Mm-hmm.
all in all, the teacher should still manage the class well, but it's not 100% that uh, it's all about the teacher teaching, but it's also about the students connecting their learning.
Right, right. And it's, I'm glad that you said facilitator. In short, these days, the teacher also needs to think outside the box, right? It's
Yes,
not just, hindi tayo pwedeng, nakakahon, can't be boxed in, and we can't be too bookish either. I mean, there are just some things
yes,
that the textbook itself does not cover, and
mm,
that's what the facilitator does. I guess, bring in different sorts of input from wherever they can get it, and that's what they present to the class. So I was wondering, what is it about the teaching profession that appealed to you?
uh, because like I've always recalled whenever asked this question, my teachers were so good. They taught the subjects well,
Mhm.
and at the same time, it's also good. For example, when teachers connect with their students, not just in the academic side of things, but for example, in the valuing part, because values, like my professor taught us, Ma'am Villasor, uh, values are not just taught, but they are caught. So
Oh, I like that.
yes,
I
so
like that.
once a teacher uh, displays good example, the students also catches it, learns it. It may not be consciously right away, but somehow modeling of good examples happen.
Mm.
So my teachers were also good examples, and that's why, aside from giving back what I have received, uh, sharing it academically, academic excellence. It is also more of connecting with, let's say, values and being there for them. Yes, being there for my students.
Mhm. I like that. Values are not just taught, but they're also caught. Hopefully, hindi siya naka-copyright. Pwede kong gamitin next time.
Yes.
Uh, so, advance notice na lang. So, whoever use that before sa mga teachers mo, ma'am, paggamit ha.
Oh, yes, I think that's open for
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Um, when you think about it, how long have you been a teacher, if I may ask?
About well, now I looked at the date. About 11 years.
About 11 years. And I'm sure there have been, rewards that you've gotten in being a teacher. Uh, can you sort of like, give the rewards, just, maybe a few or so that comes to mind. And at the same time, madali ban labanan ng pasensya, lalo na pag bata. Because I
Uh,
know you have to have that as a teacher. You need
yes,
you
true.
need to have a level of patience, and if your patience runs thin on especially a challenging student, not that they do that on purpose, they're just some students that need a little bit more time than the
Mhm.
time allotted in the classroom before they grasp a lesson. It can wear you down. It can wear you thin.
Mm.
So, any particular rewards that come to you as a teacher that you felt that at the end of the day, I did something right, that made you say to yourself that as a teacher you did that.
Uh, One fulfilling part is seeing when they understand the lesson. For
Okay.
example, they can apply it, let's say, in the works that they do, let's say in the classroom. And after the end of the class, I mean, after the end of the class, when I walk out of the classroom, I feel fulfilled because I know that they learned it.
Mm-hmm.
That itself is a reward already. And another is the affective side, because the warmth of the students, and the warmth also of your co-teachers, of the workplace. That is another reward, because uh, if you do the teaching part together as a team, that is also rewarding. And then regarding with the affective part with the students, the way you touch their lives, the way they touch yours, that's already another reward as well. And especially, for example, let's say if you see them outside of the classroom, when you meet
Mm-hmm.
them and they greet you and you greet them, it's actually rewarding. So those are some rewards. Uh, I think all in all, those are the biggest rewards. Although
Rewards.
uh, there might be other small rewards that I'm not yet recalling right now.
That's okay. That's okay. I
Yes,
mean, just
but
whatever comes to your mind.
yes.
That's the most important. Since I asked you about the rewards, of course, there will always be another side to every
Mm.
coin. So kung may reward, meron ding drawback. So ano naman ang drawback?
Uh,
Or
okay.
challenge, or if drawback is
Challenges.
too strong a word, sige, maybe challenges.
Challenges.
Pinagaan natin ng konti.
Yes. So it's really challenging. Yes. Because it's like, uh, I saw this meme and there's this pie chart of what a teacher does. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just teaching inside the classroom, it's more of the preparation outside of the classroom. Let's say when you're at home and then you prepare. Yeah. What else? The patience as well. Well, I'm thankful that I'm a patient person.
Good.
So, yeah. And then, uh, for example, well, there's this affective part that there's warmth. There are times, of course, that in the affective part, that there's also a bad feelings, bad emotions,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all people. So sometimes we make mistakes,
Right.
and let's say the student misbehaves, and then of course you're also hurt.
Right.
Those kinds of things. But then uh, it's up to you how to handle it. And I think prayer helps. And another is, of course, being the more mature person and also thinking of not taking things personally.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since day one of my teaching, that's what I put in mind. Na I won't take anything personally. Let's say what the students do, or because they make mistakes, so misbehave. so that of course it won't affect their grades, and more of it won't affect their learning. So
Right.
they
And
will, yes,
you try to make it as pleasurable and
yes,
enjoyable for them, right?
true.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I think there can be no other, how should we say, deterrent
Mm.
for a student to know that, oh gosh, it's this subject again, or oh gosh, it's this teacher again, right? I mean, the subject matter can be as challenging as you can make it out to be, but you don't need to add to that challenge by
Mm.
being a not so approachable teacher or not so approachable professor, and make them feel that that they're not worth any good because they can't
Yeah.
get the lesson right.
Yes.
So I guess it falls on a teacher, just apart from being a facilitator, is also someone who encourages, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's part of the job. And part of the job, I'm sure, are also numerous instances where you just, I don't know, laughed out loud because of an interesting mathematical answer from your students, or they just probably wowed you because they got the answer quickly and impressed you. Is there anything that comes to mind at the moment?
Well, yes. For example, let's say there are formula is that are straightforward, and they will be like, "Oh," and
Yes, b squared
yeah.
minus square root of 4ac over 2a.
Yes, I'm glad you know the quadratic
I
formula,
don't know
Heart.
why that. I don't know of all the formulas that have stuck. Ewan ko kung bakit yan.
Uh,
I don't know why.
maybe your teacher is good, or
Probably I have to thank
yeah.
her for that. Shout out to my math teacher, Miss Rosie Moscoso.
Hi, Rosie. Shout out.
Teacher Rosie, thank you. Right.
And another is uh, because currently we are having statistics in our
Mm-hmm.
the subject that I'm teaching is statistics. So there's this statistics mode in the
Okay.
scientific calculator. So mostly we compute manually. For example, we compute the uh, population variance, or
Mm.
let's say the population mean, and then the sorry for the jargon. Okay, last one, the variance
No
of the
worries, no
sample
worries, no worries.
of
That's all
the
part of it.
sample mean. And then there's this shortcut in the cycle because the statistics part in the statistics and probability subject in senior high school is not only purely manual computation. They should also know how to use their statistics calculator.
Mm-hmm.
Because in real life, of course, we don't compute all the way, right? I mean, manually or mentally. We also use our calculators,
Or we can pay
right?
someone to calculate for us.
Or we can go to sites. Yeah.
Right.
But
Hello, accountant. Paging, paging. I need my, I need my income tax now. But anyway,
oh, wow. Well, for statistics, there's this magic. So my students yesterday were like, when we started the class, they were like, "Mom, can we not have a lesson today?" Sometimes students do that. I mean, not really every day, but it was one of those days.
there will be days. Yeah, yeah. There will
Yes,
be days.
and I was like, "Oh no, but how will you see the magic of the stat calculator if we do not have our lesson?" So there, and then I taught them the shortcut on how to get the
Okay.
population variance and standard deviation in the calculator, because there's a shortcut, and it was like a wow factor for us. Well, wow factor for them because they learned it, and I love how enthusiastic they are in learning it. And so wow factor for me as well, because I saw their enthusiasm and how it affected them, especially those who do not like math that much, but they were really into learning how to compute it using the cycle.
All right.
Yeah.
In a way, it's not just the lesson itself, but also how you present it. And if you present it in such a way that as I said earlier, it makes it enjoyable and allows them, I guess, room for discovery, then you
Yes,
know that
true.
they will enjoy it, all the more. So, are there any members of your family who are also in the teaching profession?
Ah, well, for my immediate family, there's none. My sister is in the music profession.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
I'd like
right.
to flex my sister. Oh, oh, okay. Oh, she has her name here. Oh my gosh, I cannot reach
Wait,
for it.
is it here in the is
Ah,
she,
here.
She's in the book. She's also referenced
Oh,
here in the
thank
book.
you. And no, not yet, but
Not
oh
yet.
yes,
Okay.
she's in the acknowledgements part.
In the
So
acknowledgments. Okay, let's
yes.
see. Babasahin ko
Mhm.
yung acknowledgement.
Oh dear.
Mika
Oh, here's my
Cruz.
sister. Yes.
Yeah, Mika Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll talk. We'll get to the
Mhm.
book in
Mhm.
just a bit. But this has got to talking to a teacher and how sense of balance that's required. Just got me all excited about it. And we reference balance in the beginning, and whether you're, let's say, creating or navigating both paths for yourself, or just a simple citizen holding two jobs at the same time
Oh,
management is very important. So I was
yes.
wondering, can you give us a picture in the day in the life of a math teacher, and where does writing fit into the schedule?
Oh, that's really a tough one. Because yes.
Because time management is not easy, even for adults. We ingrain the importance of it on kids, but as adults, we
Mhm.
suck at it as well.
Yeah. True. And sometimes people call it more of task management. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
that's true. That's another one, another capital T word for you: time and
yeah.
tasks.
Yes, it's really a balance. So I'm more of separating things. For example, let's say weekdays, I'll
Hmm.
focus on my teaching, and then weekends, those are for other stuff. For example, the other life. Although I have to uh, sometimes during weekdays I have to post because uh, I'm I am the only one posting my stuff, and then sometimes when I'm at events, my sister will help. Uh, for writing, it actually comes with inspiration. So, for
Hmm.
example, right now, I write about my feelings. So, whenever inspiration hits me, that's when I write it. I write it on my phone
Okay.
there.
Yes, on your
And
phone. On your phone. Yes, we have notes.
yes. So, it's basically managing, managing tasks, managing time, prioritizing what should come first, what should be done first. Let's
Hmm.
say what is urgent, uh, which is the near deadline.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The closer the deadline, that's the one that needs to be taken care of first, even if you
Yes.
don't feel like doing it.
Yes.
Diba? That's
Yeah.
how it is. So see,
And-
kids, time management works. Diba?
yeah.
As they say, pag gugustuhin, may paraan. Pag ayaw, gagawa ng dahilan.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
let's shift to your creative ventures and talk first about your debut work, which I don't have here. It's entitled "Her Best Friend's Birthmark."
Oh,
So
yeah.
for
That's
those who have
fun.
yet to read it, yes, there you go. At least you have that. So for those who have yet to read it, and siyempre walang spoilers, no spoilers. Can you tell our listeners and viewers what the book is all about?
Okay, okay. Uh, so I'm tempted to read the blurb actually.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Kairos birthmark has always looked like the number three. So may map pa rin.
uh,
One night, he gets hit and run by a car. Miraculously, he survives and wakes up as he receives a phone call from his best friend Lyra. He then notices something strange. His birthmark changed shape into the number two. The COVID-19 pandemic soon breaks out in Metro Manila. During this time, Kyra develops feelings for Lyra. Yet
mhm.
it confused him whether he should act on it because they have been best friends for the longest time. Will it take his birthmark another change before Cairo confesses to Lyra how he truly feels? Yes,
Okay.
so
I think
it
there's a little
is,
bit of magic there.
yes.
Your birthmark changes. Uh, this is interesting. I haven't heard of anything like that. Premise wise, um, does do you get to explain? I mean, you must have some sort of explanation down the line for the book why
Yes.
the birthmark changed, right?
It is actually from a prompt, from a writing prompt.
It's
Yes.
from writing from. Okay,
Yes.
but for fear that I might spoil readers, I will
Okay.
try. I will try and refrain from asking the question and just read the book.
Okay.
in generally. But you mentioned COVID-19. So did
Mm.
you wrote this during the lockdown period?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, a lot of us writers and creatives really devoted ourselves more into our writing during the
Yes.
lockdown because there's really nothing else to do
And we had
at
more
the
time.
time. We had more time. It was the only, how should we say, it was the one time that really forced creatives to write and really dig deep and try to bring out whatever feelings of hopelessness, angst, and as well as hope into the light and into our work. And if there's anything that the lockdown has given us, I think it's that it has taught us to be more um, disciplined. It has
Mm.
taught us to be more, I guess, resilient as a creative, and we can always, and to get stories from real life is what the whole thing is all about, right? That your
Yes.
work mirrors what happens in real life. All right.
Yes.
Along with that, you also have, as we referenced earlier on, you held it up at the start of the conversation, your debut novel, which is part of the anthology, A Journey Through Eight Realms. And again,
Uh,
the short story is called The Price of the Wishing Pendant, or is it The
yes.
Prince of the Wishing Pendant?
Yeah.
Um, and it got in fifth place in the Filipino Reader's Choice Award. A two-part
And
question:
yes.
What is that story all about, and
Okay.
how did you get to be included in the list and in the top five?
Oh, thank you. Uh, this one is a fantasy anthology. So, Lit Art Hub Publishing, before the
Hmm.
Lit Art, now Lit Art Publishing, had a contest,
Okay.
fantasy contest. So, short stories given a certain prompt and a certain theme. This is
Hmm.
was for October 2020, so kind of Halloween season.
All
So
right.
it's more of fantasy there. And so I wrote a story based on the prompt, and I'm glad that it got, I mean, well, it won to be part of this anthology. So, of course, I'm thankful, thank God, and thank also Lit Art Publishing, especially Miss Mayumi Cruz and Miss Katie Velez.
There you go.
So, yes, they spearheaded this one. They're also the editors, and it's a great anthology penned by eight creative minds. So, therefore, we have the title Journey to Eight Realms. Uh, is it okay if I mention my co-authors?
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just
Yes.
going to ask how many authors are in the anthology.
Okay. So the eight authors are I'll I read it from here because it's so nice. We have our pictures and our names.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
And then within the book we have our bio note as well. So Sir Fred Figueroa,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Katie Velez, and then me, yeah. Kelsing Tas, Mara Fabella, Marjorie Santander, Miss Mayumi Cruz, and Miss Mira Ernie Zhao, or
There,
Zhao Dalso.
there you
She's a
go.
Filipino.
Hello. Shout out
Yeah.
to Mayumi. Hello. I've yet to get you here on the podcast. But
Hi, Miss Yumi.
we'll get to that
Yeah.
pretty soon. So they do they still do this every year for lit art publishing?
Uh, I'm not sure, but sometimes I see calls for submissions.
Okay.
So uh, the next anthology that was poetry, when I speak of home, and it
Mm.
was not only in English. It is in Cebuano. They
Oh,
had an
okay.
anthology for uh, Filipino languages here as well. So
Nice,
it's
nice,
nice.
nice. So in
Yeah.
short, every year the theme changes.
Yes.
All right.
There.
Cool, cool, cool. Well,
The,
congrats to
thank you.
being part of the anthology, and also, that the thing about getting citations or nominations and awards like that, it all goes well with your author profile, right, or
Yeah.
your author bio, and it's nice to see, nominated author, this and this and this and that. So it sort of validates the work that you do,
Mhm.
right? They'll say that mahirap paging author. It's difficult
True.
becoming an author because there's so many things that you have to sacrifice, things that you have to prioritize. But when you do get that recognition, it makes everything worth it, right? It makes
Mm.
all the pagod and all the effort worth it. So for other creatives out there, that if you want to make sure that your work, however, in whatever form it may be, poetry, short form or long form, gets noticed, I guess you just really have to do that, to keep writing and to refine your own process so that you get the work out, and then you have the opportunity to share, then go share it, right?
Yes.
When you hear that you're nominated, I mean, regardless of what the result is, regardless whether you win or not, how does it make you feel? I mean, does it make you feel that you've reached something and you're okay with it, or parang kulang pa because there still needs to be another rung in the ladder that you need to go up on in order to reach another goal?
Oh, so for me, it's more of the people support,
Mm-hmm.
especially the FRCA is a popularity uh, contest for the books,
All right.
and then it was actually amazing how we got the I think that was 560 votes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Nice.
yes, there was a lot because it's nationwide, and there were a lot of books listed. So the good thing about the FRCA is that it brings awareness. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's this book. Even for me, as I voted, there's this book. There's this book. Wow! And then I see people. Some people I know that they have their book here. So it gives awareness on the about the Filipino books
Mm-hmm.
during that time. So, and that's why I'm so thankful for everyone who voted. And shout out also to my uh, godmother, Miss Veronica Pangilinan. Thank you for voting. And for everyone who voted, my friends, for our book. And actually, I had two books there nominated. One is A Journey Through Eight Realms, this under English anthology for fiction. And they separated it into two batches based on
Mm-hmm.
the years.
Okay,
Yes.
based on the year that it was
Yes.
released. All right, so that's why
And
it's
the
batch
other,
two. Okay.
yes, it's batch two. And then the other one is nonfiction under Paper Cat Books, the
Mhm.
Quarantined Thoughts Volume 2. So that is my
Ah,
first published work. Yes, in ebook. Yeah. So it was in
yay!
nonfiction. Yeah.
Hello, Miss Cat
Yes.
of Paper Cat.
Hello, Miss
Hello,
Cat.
love you.
There. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. So let's move on to the current book on hand, which is this one. My girlfriend is a Manananggal. Obviously, there is a horror element, but also a love story angle to the story. So, can you tell us what it is all about and what inspired you to write it?
For My Girlfriend is a Manananggal, it is under the collaboration, our first Pinoy indie authors collaboration. The theme is Manananggal in the City.
Okay.
So, yes, here we are nine authors who uh, did. I say did because it's not just wrote, it's also published from the, uh, aside from writing, it's also the book layout, the interior,
Mm-hmm.
and then the book cover. So, uh, and then the marketing, we promoted it together. So, it is, well, from the team Manananggal in the City. Uh, the, the Manananggal should be present in our stories, in each of our stories. And mine was a rom-com.
Yeah. Is
Yes.
that do you get to choose what kind of genre you write in within the theme, or
No.
it's like, you pick slots or whatever? Bunutan ba?
No. We got to choose what we wanted to write, the story, the plot, which we wanted.
Oh, okay. So let's say if
So,
you're writing rom-com, does this mean that the other authors cannot write rom-com? They have to write something
and
else, or that's
no,
okay?
they can also, that's okay. They can also
Oh,
write rom-com. So there's also other romance books in our collab.
all right. As long as
So,
it's within the
yeah.
theme of
Yes, in a Manananggal in the City.
Manananggal, right? For our
Yes.
international audiences, if in case you didn't know what that is, in some episodes back, we did explain that it is a creature of Philippine mythology, wherein it's usually a woman who is able to
Yes.
segment her upper half and fly up into the city with big span of wings, and her lower half is retained on the ground, which more often than not needs to be protected, because if not, she can't go back to her lower half and
For
be a
human.
normal human being again
Sprinkle salt.
during, yes, during the day. But if you want to kill one, just sprinkle salt on the lower half, and she can't come back to the lower half of her body by daylight. I mean, before the sun rises, that is, and then she just dies. Okay. She usually eats fetuses in pregnant women's bellies. She has this long tongue that will snake down from her mouth. Proscobus, if I remember my own description right, yeah, something like that. And it's a gruesome creature in Philippine mythology, and one that's been used numerous times, but we seem to can't get enough of it. And I was gonna get to that. It seems that writing about creatures of folklore, especially as Filipinos, it will always be in fashion. I was wondering, why do you think is that so? I mean, considering we're the only predominantly Catholic country in Southeast Asia, and yet we write about these creatures of Philippine folklore who are more than who are very feral and vicious in their own right. So what do you think is that?
I I think because it is close to our memory, close to our culture. For example, let's say, uh, di ba famous ang mga, all right, di ba well-known or well-known ang mythologies, for example, Greek, and then
Hmm.
Roman, and then we have the
Yeah,
Norse, so we have those movies. But
right.
here, our mythology is also close to us, our folklore. So I'm glad that many writers are writing about it, incorporating it in their stories, and actually writing a genre of it, because it's like home. For example, Norse mythology. Well, I like Greek mythology, Norse, Egyptian, but how about ours?
Right,
And
right.
yes, so this is why me personally as an author, and I think most authors here who write about our anthology, or I mean our mythology, also incorporate the mythological creatures in our story, and even write stories about them, because for us it's kind of real. Well, not totally real, but it is close to our reality. It's actually closer. It's actually scarier than what we hear of from other cultures,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. That's
it's
right. That's right.
actually, yes, it's actually preserving also what we have.
I agree. I agree. It's a way of getting in touch with our own culture and finding out who we really are as Filipinos. And of course, it's our own culture. We have to be proud of it, right?
Yes,
And how can we like market, or how can we like tell other people about our own culture if we ourselves do not educate ourselves
yes,
regarding it, right? So before we start showing it to someone else, we need to be masters of our own folklore and
yes.
culture. So while this is it's a standalone story, and it's not part of
Mhm.
any, let's say, compiled printed anthology, unless there is a compiled printed version of all eight
Yes,
authors. Is there
yes. We have nine. Sorry, nine.
nine?
Uh,
Okay.
yes, we have an ebook.
Oh,
So
okay.
the only anthology we have is an ebook where there are the nine copies.
Okay,
Yes.
nine
So
stories right in there. Okay.
yes, if ever, let's say our audience wants to get the nine copies, just message the Pinoy Indie Authors Facebook page. So for the ebook, and then we sell our books also as a standalone books, aside from the
Nine
nine
compiled.
story ebook. Yes.
Okay. All right, I get that.
Yes.
um
Although, I guess,
mhm. Sure,
although
go
I
ahead, go ahead.
plan, yes, I plan to write. I mean, I plan to continue the story.
Yes,
So it's not,
yes.
yeah,
The
thank you.
story, Maria deserves to be heard and to be,
Yes.
yeah,
The
she
story is not yet
she
done.
deserves it. Oh no.
As you
So
can see in the end.
yes, definitely not. And we want to see more of we want to see of what she does, and how 30 will not mess it up, because there is that propensity for him to do that. Parang masyado siyang aligaga. So, alam mo naman, pagka
Mm.
ang tao medyo aligaga, medyo natatapa, napipisod. So, hopefully, tumino ng konti si 30, and ayusin niya yung relasyon niya, ha? Kausapin mo siya, ayusin niya. All right. So, as I said, this is a standalone story, and thank you for the clarification that there is a compiled ebook version of the anthology wherein online stories are there, but individually you can get this,
Yes.
as a standalone, each of the 9 stories, and it's spearheaded by indie authors collab, right? Pinoy indie
Pinoy
authors
Indie.
collab. So, what exactly is the group, and how does one become a member? If in case anyone
Oh,
out there is interested,
yes.
and it's also for my own
So,
curiosity.
yes. uh, for Pinoy indie authors, we are uh, Filipino authors all over the archipelago. So we have authors from Baguio, authors from Davao, and
Hmm.
here in the metro. Uh, so, we do our meetings online, and we came together to help each other, especially in promoting our books together. So we have a group launch, and then we promote together, and also we write under the same theme. So
Hmm.
I'm excited, especially you mentioned about your curiosity for Pinoy indie authors.
Right, and I know online that you have another series coming up soon. Can you tell us a little bit about the theme, and are you
Yes.
part of it? I'm not
I
sure.
know. Yes. But I'll also tell about it, Romancing the Tamawo. So the
Okay.
second Pinoy indie collab is Romancing the Tamawo. And the group book launch is next week, May 19. So
May
in the
19.
QC
Okay.
Public Library. So everyone who wants to go, yes.
All
uh,
right, right. They can see you
for,
there. But for
yes,
those who
for
are
the
not familiar, what is Tamawo?
Oh, so for the Tamawo, well, when I've read books about it, there's actually two descriptions. So
Okay.
the first one is a fair-skinned, fair-haired uh, creature. Somehow it will resemble Germanic elves.
There you
And
go.
then,
And start paging Legolas and Orlando Bloom.
yeah. Well, the second is a smaller creature
Okay.
with pointed ears and plays a musical instrument. Trying to
Ah,
recall what it is called. So the tamawo chosen for this collab is, of course,
the
the
elvish
Germanic
looking
elf, the
the
Legolas
yeah the
speaking.
elvish
Yes,
looking elves, of course.
yes.
I mean, the elvish looking tamawas. Yeah, yeah. But if in case you want to write about the other,
Mm.
if you can make it work as a story, as a rom-com, then I guess you'll also be welcome to try, right?
Mm.
If you're part of the, let's say, of the indie collab group, and the theme that was chosen is, let's say, you feel that you won't do justice to the theme, are you okay not joining, and join and wait for the next theme before you join? Is that okay?
Yes, that is okay. Especially also uh, you need to have your calendars aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And what if, for example, uh, let's say your theme or your ideas are not aligned with the team, so it's okay not to join the, let's say, the second launch, and then, for example, let's say in the third launch, you have a common theme, so it's perfectly fine.
Have you
Yes.
guys met for the third launch? Do you already know what the third one is
It's
going to
actually a
be?
secret. I
Okay,
don't
no,
know
I'm not,
also.
I will not
No,
ask you
I
to
mean,
say
I
it,
don't
but
know also, so it's
okay,
actually a secret.
it's a
So
secret. Okay,
I
all
am
right, all right.
actually excited to know what the third team will be.
So if in
So
case someone who's just hearing about this for the first time, and they happen to like the next theme, the
hmm.
next third theme, that is, how do they apply to be a member?
Just
Just message.
Yes, just message the Pinoy Indie Authors page,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook page, and because there were authors who wanted to join the second collab, and we were open for it. So there.
So is it always just nine, or do you
Oh,
or do you see the group expanding the numbers and making it maybe 12 in the next theme or 15?
ah, I'm not sure, but I think uh, it's possible to expand the numbers. Because for
Mm-hmm.
the second collab, I think there are, well, the number is less than 9,
All right.
but I think it's possible, especially if many has the same theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
possible.
well, which is, I as long as I guess get the word out that there's something like this that's going on,
Mm.
and people will still be interested in reading and as well as writing within the themes that are set. I have a feeling that your numbers can and will increase, and this is also great because
Yes.
this means more independent authors are being
Mm.
recognized, and they're getting the traction with the series themed releases like these. And as they say, there is strength in numbers. And
Numbers.
being a math teacher, you know how important the numbers are. All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of numbers, and because of course you are in that arena, and you are the expert, but how do you measure your productivity? I was wondering, do you measure it by the number of words you write in a day per writing session? Or do you measure it, let's say, because you time yourself for 30 minutes to an hour per writing session?
My productivity as an author. Well, first the number of books, but
Yes, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Okay.
aside from that one, uh, I don't actually look at the numbers. It's more of
Okay.
expression. Let's
All
say
right.
getting my feelings out or the story. Let's say I have a story concept, story idea, and I want to tell about it. So it's more of writing it. Now, let's say I'm writing a manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think the word count also helps. I don't target a word count, let's say a large word count, but for example, it actually depends. For example, let's say the contest has this target word count. So of
Mm-hmm.
course, I measure my productivity that way.
Based on
And for
that,
example,
okay.
yes. And for example, how much or how many words have I written for this day and the next day? But for example, let's say I do not have a deadline. It's more of the story flowing. It's more of
Mm-hmm.
let's say every night I have time to write, so I'll write it. It's more of how the story goes.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right. As you can see, I'm sort of like transitioning to craft questions. So you mentioned about story flow. So does this mean that you are more of a free flowing writer or a pantser as compared to,
mm,
let's say, an outliner?
plantser,
Ah,
yes,
yes. Again,
yes,
another Plantser.
combination
So
of two.
team Plantser
Yeah,
unite. Yes, yes.
yeah.
Combination of the two. That's the best way to do things. That you get good practices from. I mean, good points from both practices and fuse them and and make them work for you.
Yes.
I was wondering, is there a lesson or if not a wake up call that you have learned being a creative that has sort of like become a life lesson to you, and if asked, you would gladly impart on other authors or aspiring creatives out there?
Ah, so one is to write what you want to write. It's not it's not about what others want to read or what others expect you to write. So it's well actually people write for a lot of reasons, or people create for a lot of reasons. So it's not just
Hmm.
one reason, or it's not the same for every creative. But for me, it's more of because I want to write this one. I want to tell this story. I enjoy writing. So that is one reason for me to write. And actually, I've learned that throughout my author journey.
Hmm.
And the rest will follow. Not everyone will like your books because not everyone has the same taste or the same favorite genre, but
Hmm.
there will be those who will read your books because they like the genre and they resonate with the story as well.
Agree, agree. Do you have any, let's say, rituals before you write? Like, I don't know, do you play music, or do you
Mm.
maybe light candles or incense or dim the lights just to sort of like get you in the mood to write? And in equation to that, to equate that question, do you write better during the day or do you write better during the night?
Yeah. So, uh, well, I write better during the night. I think it's common for us. Although
Yeah, yeah.
I also write during the day. Actually, when inspiration hits,
Okay.
when inspiration hits, I put it on my phone. So because if I do not, it goes away or it gets lost. It flies away.
Parang manananggal, liliparin lang yung ideas mo if you don't put it down
Hmm,
on paper. Yeah.
yes.
What are you currently working on?
Ah, well, I think poetry collections.
Okay.
Because I've started with math poems.
Mhm. Oh
There's-
God, math poems. I
yes.
never thought I'd hear this, but
Oh my gosh.
math poems.
Yes. Because
Okay.
my upcoming work, The Poetry of Numbers,
Wow. Okay.
it's
I love the title already.
thank you.
Poetry of numbers.
It's
There is poetry in numbers.
because there are different kinds of numbers. So it's like them speaking. So numbers speaking, numbers being described. So aside from the literary and creative joy of writing it, it's also uh, teaching math in another way,
Hmm.
especially because these set of numbers are described this way. I will, let's say, the reader, I will remember that, oh, this is what uh, let's say an irrational number is.
Hmm.
So, and then aside from that poetry collection, another is, let's say, maybe a poetry collection of well, the common genre, love poems.
Yep.
Yes, because emotion
That will always sell. Love poems will always sell. That's for sure.
and
For
expressing.
those, I wish you all the best in that
Thank
in your
you.
current writing, and hopefully it will come out just in time for Manila International Book Fair,
Oh.
which is in September. All right. For those who are interested, where can they get copies of the book?
Oh, so one is through the Pinoy Indie Authors page. And oh, let me do that as well.
Right.
Oh,
Have to zoom in so that
thank
so that people
you.
will see it. Okay. There. All right.
Yes, and yes. So when they go to the Pinoy Indie Authors page, we have our books there. So if you want to get my book and the others, other our fellow authors books as well, they can get
Mm-hmm.
it there. Because it's not just the Pinoy Indie Collab titles, also the titles of the other titles of the authors there. So for example, even if it's not under the team, as long as
Mm-hmm.
she or he is a Pinoy indie author, we also have our books there.
Okay. Great.
And
Great.
yeah, another is through my Linktree, Linktree Keira _Viresse. So it has all the books there, even my fan fiction. So
All
for
right.
those who like reading fan
We will
fiction,
put that, I will put that on the show notes. Wait, you mentioned fan fiction. What kind of fan
yeah,
fiction do you write?
Percy Jackson fan fiction and the
Aha.
Penthouse K drama. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought it was like supernatural fan fiction, like
Ah,
the TV show Supernatural. So yeah,
okay.
that, or or Buffy or Angel or Charmed or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, that's great too, Percy Jackson. Um, I got a wait. Do I have a Percy Jackson question?
Ah,
Maybe I'll ask you off air. No, no.
okay.
But
Yeah.
are you up to date with the new version on Disney Plus? Have you seen the new version?
Yes, so good. I
Is
was actually part of the tweet storm.
Oh,
That
okay,
yes,
cool.
the hashtag that one. I think it was Disney adapt Percy Jackson.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
I have that photo on my Instagram, and I haven't posted the new photo after watching. I think that's something that is wonderful when, let's say, fans, especially readers, support their favorite, let's say, favorite thing, in this case favorite book, because
Mhm.
when we did the hashtag, the tweet storm, and our wishes got granted, and it was a great show, the series. So I mean, it was somehow fulfilling that, oh, I somehow made that happen, even just by sharing
The-
it or tweeting
Right.
it. So
That you're a
yeah.
part of it. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And it does feel right now to see books being adapted into in season, because
Mm.
the storytelling on TV or on streaming services will definitely be different than the storytelling frame in a 2 hour movie.
Mm.
You can't mention everything in
Yes.
a 2 hour movie, especially with this kind of series wherein one element bring comes up, and then attached to another element or component of the story that also needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So working this as a series, season one, season two is really the best to get the entire book adapted well. And sometimes there are still things that are not there, but
Yes. Yeah.
but for the most part, at least it's there. So the Linktree link is where they can know more about you, your
Yes.
work, as well as on social media. I
Yes.
take it that you are also on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I'll put that as well on the show notes,
Thank
so
you.
they can just click and follow you and know more about you and your work, both as an author and as a math teacher. Right.
Yeah.
So since May award, you already have an award for an author. You should have an award for being a math teacher.
Oh,
Okay.
thank
So
you.
ilabi natin yan. Ilabi natin yan. Okay.
Salamat.
If there's a hashtag that we need to use, let us know and we'll tweet the hell out of it. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, Kira, thank you so much for joining us today. That's a wrap, and
And
I wish you all the best in your future writing and teaching endeavors. May you open up more minds in your quest for mathematical supremacy and and
yeah.
creative balance. All
Yes.
right. Thank you also to Spine Books for your support since day one, and also to our friends over at Nerd Nibbles, of which you can follow them on Instagram, especially if you like mushroom flavored chips. And if you are a creative, you'd like to be featured in the podcast, feel free to email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. And if you want to get a copy of my own stuff, go to the Shopee page of Spine Books or simply message me on cjedmunds.com. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Till the next episode, enjoy the rest of the week, guys. See you in the next one. Indie Creatives Unite. Keep
Thank you.
creating, and we will keep reading. Stay
Thank
safe,
you so much.
stay creative.
Also,
Namaste. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Urban Fantasy PH, and thank you, Sir CJ Edmunds, and to our listeners and readers. Thank you so much for having me here. It was so fun fun to talk about and to answer your questions, and also the Urban Fantasy PH podcast. This is so a thrilling idea, and I love it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you. That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Through the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmunds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be.